Again, more blood in the streets from the left-wing lunatic wackos. Take a listen to what this grade B actor said. Fascism. That means it's budding, is what he's talking about. It's in its infancy. It's growing. This is nation fascism. We always had a turnkey totalitarian state. All we needed was an execution for real. Then there will be blood in the streets. Is he saying that he's going to take up arms against the United States of America and Donald Trump? Think about where it always comes from the left. Always. So, quite fascinating to watch. Cannot accept it. They are crazed, and let me tell you something. Remember I told you this. Desperate people do desperate things. I know this sounds nuts. I never thought I'd hate you for a slogan you wear on a hat. Make America great again. Upsets people to the point some of them would kill you. You're not trying to change anything. You're trying to save something. You're trying to save the America you grew up in, and that is righteous. And it is. They hate this. They hate what it is now. Who was it? Barack Obama. Change, hope, and change. On the air today. Just a side note before I go into a couple of different topics, including a pilot who got busted at an airport with a gun. Unbelievable. We'll go there in just a second. But I was on the Kurt Schillings here. In particular, the Supreme Court and the second half of Donald Trump's first term. There is a very real possibility, as we were discussing, that Trump could put a third cause for saving this country. It is righteous. It is noble. You are a gift from God. This country is a gift from God. The individuals who created it, the founding fathers and the Constitution, as these men into an open border, globalist-run crap hole. We aren't going to let that happen. Unfortunately, we're seeing the rhetoric come from them that is telling us how far, as he said, and something is coming up which is desperately important to this country and to this planet. This planet. That is an election in which hopefully in some measure we're going to take back our democracy, by the way, and won't have to do what comes next. You hear him? Won't have to do what comes next, which is either a nonviolent revolution or a violent one. Because the only way to stop it is when the left and these lunatics stand down. Moving on. Would you believe, on another note, that an armed lunatic went in with a hood and a gun? Would you believe that could happen? Would you believe that in Louisville, Kentucky, a concealed carry permit holder, things actually happened, and the mainstream media is giving it virtually zero airplay at all, but would rather talk about coming and doing what? Using what? These two stories. Both of these things happened. Let's talk about him briefly. He's my hero. Masked gunman blazes into McDonald's, but had to face a protective dad. An ordinary night at a Birmingham, Alabama McDonald's erupted in chaos and tragedy after a masked gunman stormed the restaurant and began shooting Saturday. But a father who was in the restaurant with his two sons, wishing someone would come wake me up from this nightmare. That was from Marcus Washington, an employee who barricaded himself in the restaurant's freezer, told WBRC TV. 10:45 that night, an employee was doing what employees do, unlocking the door to let the man and his sons out of the restaurant, because the restaurant was getting ready to close. The father, who was getting let out by the employee, had his two sons, pulled out his own weapon, and a hail of gunfire, quote-unquote, washed over the restaurant. Don't you love this? To the station. Hail. Quoting, it's truly sad, but it's something in a community we can overcome, police spokesman Sergeant Brian Shelton said. We just have to work together to find a solution to our issues without resorting to violence, the cop said. The victim made a decision. The victim is the father and the son, and the other son, and the individual who had to witness it. The rest. Now, I don't for the life of me think that that's what the cop was saying. However, you know what? Words flip and mean things. The victim is not dead. The victim's two sons. And here's what the cop also said. Oh, the employee who hid in the restaurant, not the cop. The employee who hid in the walk-in closet said the guy's his hero. Because I can... You wouldn't be. Things like this are difficult for both families. The gentleman who unfortunately lost his life, the teenage boy who was in the hospital, really heart-wrenching experience. It would be a hell of a lot more heart-wrenching to watch your son die. Thank God you had a gun, sir. Thank God you had a gun. Thank